Hello. Think about the last time you did something just because you were supposed to. Maybe you followed a routine, completed a task, moved on without really questioning it. That's normal. Most of us exist in systems that reward obedience over curiosity. We're trained to move from one step to the next without ever pausing in between. But how often do we stop and ask why? Yeah, every invention, every social movement, and every step towards a better place started with someone asking this exact same question. When we don't ask why, we don't just lose curiosity, but we lose direction. Psychology shows us that humans aren't only motivated by awards, but by meaning. That means that we don't just want to succeed, we want to know why that success matters. Without that, even achievements can feel empty. That's why people can chase goals they've wanted for years, and at the end of it, still feel lost. Because somewhere along the way, they ask themselves why it mattered. Now, here's another interesting fact. Certainty, feeling like you actually know something, is one of the most satisfying hits of dopamine the human brain can experience. It gives us a sense of control, clarity, and sometimes even comfort. But real certainty doesn't come from blindly following a path. It comes from looking deeper. One of my favorite examples of this comes from the 1930s. Sakichi Toyota, the person who later founded Toyota, developed a simple yet powerful technique called the five whys. Now, this wasn't philosophy, it was just engineering. Whenever a machine broke down on the factory floor, his engineers didn't just patch the surface level problem. They asked why 5 times. Why did the machine stop? The fuse blew. Why did the fuse blow? The circuit was overloaded. Why? Until they found the root cause. And that's the difference. When we stop at the first question, we just solve symptoms and not the actual problem. Now, you might be wondering, how do we integrate this into our day to day lives? Well, I'll give you a personal example. For a long time, I treated life as something that I always needed to be prepared for. Every task had to be great, every accomplishment had to be completed. But one day, after an exhausting night, I sat at my desk and I was tired. And I asked myself a question that I hadn't in a long time. Why do I do all of this? And honestly, the answer wasn't as simple as I had expected. I had been so focused on trying to become somebody that I forgot to value who I already was, my interests, my passions, and the things that made me feel joy. And then my mindset shifted. I didn't stop my ambition, I didn't stop preparing, but found a balance between the present and the future. Because sometimes we need to realize that life isn't always about preparation, but it's about living in the moment. In school, it might mean more than just memorizing a formula. It means asking what was somebody trying to solve all those years ago. In your relationships, it might mean not choosing judgment or assumption, but asking someone why they are the way they are. And in yourself, it might mean more than just following a path blindly, and asking yourself why you want the things you want and if those reasons are really yours. So, next time you're about to accept something without even thinking about it, pause and ask the question. Not because you're supposed to, but because it might change everything. Thank you.